It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV, 5 things you need to know for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. I'm Derek Gilbert, again coming to you from southern Indiana on the Ohio, halfway between Louisville and Cincinnati, as we're on vacation this week, spending a few days with Sharon's family and back home to the Ozarks tomorrow. So again, today, an abbreviated report, as I'm trying to do this without taking too much time away from visiting with the folks. I thank you for your understanding. This week, today, the main topic I want to discuss is the border. Joe Biden last week made a big deal of his tough new executive order to secure the southern border, and of course, trying to blame Republicans for the 17 million, by some count, 17 million illegals that have crossed into the United States during the Joe Biden presidency. Of course, that ignores the fact that the executive orders he issued on the first day of his presidency undid a number of Trump executive orders that had secured the border, more or less, and that opened the floodgates to illegals crossing into the border. Again, President Biden last week, realizing that this has become a bad campaign issue for him, Democrat-controlled cities, voters are rising up in protest against government resources being diverted from communities that really need the help to new arrivals. In New Haven, Connecticut, or Hartford, Connecticut, city officials there are panicking because African-American communities are now patrolling the streets, armed men patrolling their own streets because crime has gotten out of control. And in large measure, it's due to Democrat government policies. Whether that's connected to the border, we don't know. But the fact is that cities that have been voting Democrat for literally decades, reliably and consistently, 70, 80% Democrat, are now rising up in protest against those governments. And in large cities like Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, it is in many ways tied to the flood of illegal migrants coming in during the Joe Biden presidency. Well, so President Biden last week saying he was taking tough steps to secure the border, but Fox News has obtained an internal Border Patrol memo that were sent to agents in the San Diego sector, a place where one of the most heavily trafficked areas on the southern border, after the executive order took effect, telling those agents to release single adults from all but 6 countries in the Eastern Hemisphere. Those countries: Uzbekistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Georgia, Moldova, and Kyrgyzstan. Everybody else, they've been released from more than 100 countries in the Eastern Hemisphere with a notice to appear or release on own recognizance order. Here you go. Here's your notice to appear in court 3 years down the road. And of course, more than 85% of those people never show up for their court date. President Biden and the Department of Homeland Security promised consequences and removal for those who crossed illegally between any ports of entry after the executive order took effect. But most of the illegal crossers in the San Diego sector, China, Middle Eastern, African, are still being released into the U.S. with future court dates. And again, the vast majority basically just disappear, never to be seen again. Interestingly, a recent poll shows this, reported to the shock of CNN's CBS News, Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation over the weekend. 60% of Americans, all Americans, which means a lot of Democrats too, are in favor of removing all illegal migrants and expelling them from the country. Again, since 2021, as many as 17 million. That would be a major operation, but 60% of Americans now in favor of that. One other note, Ukraine has taken the war inside Russia. It, over the weekend, touted the fact it launched an airstrike by a fighter jet inside Russian territory. This reported by Sky News in the UK. This is a significant first, an escalation in the long war now between Russia and Ukraine. An unidentified Ukrainian military source said that an air-launched missile strike hit the Belgorod region Sunday. That's on Ukraine's northern border. Sky News raised the possibility that this missile was supplied by one of the Western nations, U.S. or one of the other NATO nations. And this coming very soon after the U.S. had authorized Ukraine to use NATO-supplied weapons to attack inside Russia. Now, there's no confirmation this came from one of the F-16 fighter jets supplied by NATO nations to Ukraine. That would be a massive escalation, leaving Ukraine open to huge retaliatory strikes, might also leave NATO countries open to retaliatory strikes from Russia. Ukrainian forces expected to receive their first F-16s sometime soon. They're wanting to get more pilots trained on those jets as soon as possible. The bottom line here, again, that Western nations are upping the ante as we step by step, inch by inch, notch by notch, raise the level of conflict between Ukraine and Russia at some point that will spill over into a NATO country, triggering Article 5, at least on paper, that would trigger Article 5, drawing the rest of NATO, including the US, UK, Canada, etc., into direct conflict with Russia. And it seems that that's what the neocons inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C. want. Let's pray that cooler heads prevail. Coming up, the UFO phenomenon has gone mainstream. Is it legit or is it a hoax? Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis talking about that on Skywatch TV this week. Details next on 5 and 10.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to take a quick break to tell you how you can get your copy of both of these incredible new works in the Out of This World and Gate of the Gods special offer. When you order this incredible offer from the SkywatchTVStore.com, you'll receive the brand new book, Out of This World, Are UFOs Aliens, Spirits, or Pure Hokum by Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, that exposes the faults in both the science and theology regarding the existence of UFOs. The very real possibility that UFOs are manned by extraterrestrial beings much smarter and far more spiritual than humans that are preparing to deceive mankind as we approach the biblical end times. The recent surge of UFO activity all around the globe, and why Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis is calling for Project UFO, a national strategy to determine if we face an existential threat, and so much more. But that's not all. You'll also receive Gate of the Gods, Revelation, the Messiah, and the Second Coming of Babylon by Tyler Gilreath, that brings to life the war between Jesus Christ and the power of darkness as illuminated in the book of Revelation. A cosmic end-time struggle between the Hebrew king of promise and the Old Testament gods of Babylon. The hidden Babylonian framework in the book of Revelation that can only be seen through ancient Near Eastern eyes, unmasking Babylon the Great, and more. Also included in this must-have special offer for a very limited time, Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis's best-selling book, Give Me Liberty, Not Marxism, and his book, Kings of the East, China's Plan to Eliminate America and Impose a Communist World Order. All of these items hold a retail value of $84. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. So don't delay. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. You can also visit us at SkywatchTVStore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Out of This World and Gate of the Gods special offer right now.
When even the mainstream corporate media sources are talking about it, CNN, MSNBC, USA Today, New York Times, Washington Post, Tucker Carlson has spent a lot of time on this over the last 5 years, 7 years now as well. I'm talking about the UFO phenomenon. Where are they coming from? Are they legit? Are they secret government craft? What is behind the UFO phenomenon? Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis shares his unique insight as a Pentagon insider on what these things are, a Pentagon insider with a biblical worldview and an understanding of end times Bible prophecy. You don't want to miss these programs, and you don't want to miss the offer for his new book, Out of This World. You can watch the programs right now, the first week of a 4-week series, alongside Tyler Gilreath and his new book, Gate of Gods, a deep dive into Babel and Babylon and what that's all about. Jaw-dropping stuff. We were honored to be on the panel for those sessions. The first program available now at skywatchtv.com. You can also watch it on Roku or Apple TV, the Skywatch TV channel on those set-top boxes. You can also catch it on our over-the-air broadcasts with our partner Christian networks. The broadcast schedule is posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. Now, you can also watch it on the internet, rumble.com/skywatchtv, youtube.com/@skywatchtelevision, the main program back on YouTube now. You can also catch it, best of all, at our mobile app, the mobile devices, because the app bypasses the gatekeepers of big tech. The programs are hosted on the server of the Christian company that's developed our app. So please, if you've got an iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire phone or tablet, download our free app, get all the content right on your device, and that way we will never be canceled again. So please go to our website, skywatchtv.com/app, to find the app store that's right for your device. And speaking of social media, please, if you're following 5 in 10, do so on X at 5 in 10. And we are also on YouTube, at least for now, at 5_in_10. I've got that reversed. On X, it's 5_in_10. YouTube at 5 in 10. Please subscribe, share this with your friends. And tomorrow, please note, we will be traveling, so no 5 in 10 tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday. Until then, thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.